And we've begun to say, no, tomorrow it will be crazier than today. It's nuts what's happening. And all of us are seeking an answer. We're all looking for truth. As the world worries about their money and their jobs and everything else, we search for the truth on what's happening. But we're looking in all the wrong places. This is a pamphlet put together by Thomas Edison. And it's Edison's invention of the kinetophonograph, basically the movie camera. And this is what he gave to investors and said, hey, I've developed something that's incredible. The last page in this book talks about the movie camera, and it says that the best thing about this is the truth will be recorded. Because now that there will be film, we can film all of the politicians, and we'll know exactly what they say, and the age of lies is over. It made it worse. We're looking for truth in the wrong place. Printed a year later in England because the English needed to understand what the Americans were talking about. What's striking about this one is there are huge gaps in this particular one. You can barely see it here. But in this one, you'd have to write the things in it because the printer would go to jail if he wrote any of the charges. So you'd stand at the counter and said, yeah, that word was tyrant, and you'd write it in. That way you were responsible for treason, not the printer. That's how crazy the world was. You couldn't even speak the truth without fear. But without a return to common sense, and that's all this says. Guys, you know and I know, man's supposed to be free. You know and I know that what the king is doing is wrong. You and I know that it is corrupt. And you and I know these things because we've heard them from our pulpit over the last 20 years. This was a message that came from the pulpits, and the people read this and connected. So we signed the Declaration of Independence because of that pamphlet. Then the war started. In summer, everybody was excited. In summer, everybody's like, this is great, we're going to be free. Then the British started to march, and everybody's like, holy crap, I don't think I signed up for that. And it's Christmas. And now we have lost every single battle. Nobody likes George Washington. Nobody likes him. They're stabbing in the back. They're ready to throw him out as the general of the armed forces. And he's standing on the other side of the Delaware in retreat, on the southern side of the Delaware. All the weasels in Pennsylvania, all the politicians have already run. He's standing there and he realizes after prayer, we have to turn around and go the other way. We have to cross the Delaware and we have to take on SEAL Team 6. Nobody wanted to go with him. Nobody. Here's your first act of divine providence. Because George Washington knew the Purple Heart was not for getting wounded. It's actually the first award ever given to somebody who was just an enlisted man. Nobody ever got a medal or anything unless you were an officer. This wasn't a medal, and it wasn't for being wounded. It was called the Badge of Merit. It was a Purple Heart, and it said merit. And if you were seen by someone doing something that God would find pleasing, you would get the Badge of Merit, and you would be kept in George Washington's Book of Honor. Because the Lord, he knew, the Lord will make up our shortcomings if we're people of merit and honor and dignity. Amen. And loyalty. Yes. And people of God. So he's standing on the other shore, and he realizes he's got to cross the Delaware. He can't convince anybody to go with him because he's lost everything, and now he's saying, let's take on the meanest, baddest troops we can. At the same time, the guy who wrote Common Sense, Thomas Paine, is also marching in the mud right before Christmas. And he writes something called the American Crisis. And we've all heard it. It starts out, "These are the times that try men's souls." And what he's saying in this is, you were all there in the sunshine. You all wanted this, but now it's gotten tough. Now nobody's willing to go because you think we're losing. But the man who stands with his country and with God today will be remembered as a patriot forever. He put out a